It sounds like a bad joke. A Roman emperor walks into a bathroom and decides to tax pee. But this isn't a meme. It's real history. Nearly 2,000 years ago, Emperor Vespasian did something so absurd, so outrageously practical, that it's still studied in economics classes today. This is the untold story of how one emperor turned waste, literal human waste, into gold, and in the process, taught the world one of the strangest lessons about money, power, and psychology. To understand why anyone would tax urine, you have to imagine Rome in the 1st century AD, a city of marble palaces, crowded streets, and a smell that could knock you over. Hygiene was not Rome's strongest suit. Public toilets weren't just common, they were essential. And all that human output didn't go to waste. In fact, it was valuable, because Roman tanners and laundries used ammonia from urine to clean clothes and process leather. Yes, you heard that right. Ancient Roman dry cleaners depended on pee. Workers would collect it in pots, soak dirty tunics and stomp on them like grapes in a vat. The ammonia broke down grease and dirt. Tanneries used it to treat animal hides. It was gross but profitable. And that's where Emperor Vespasian saw an opportunity, a market everyone else was too disgusted to notice. But to see how he got there, we need to rewind to a time when Rome was broke. Before Vespasian came to power, the empire had been drained by chaos. Nero's wild spending, civil wars, and a series of short-lived emperors had left the treasury empty. Inflation was rising. The economy was collapsing. Soldiers needed to be paid, monuments rebuilt, and Rome's image restored. Someone had to clean up the mess. That someone was Titus Flavius Vespasianus, a no-nonsense general who rose from humble roots. He wasn't born into the elite like Julius Caesar or Nero. He was practical, frugal, and famously unimpressed by luxury. When he became emperor in AD 69, he inherited not just the throne but also the bill for a bankrupt empire, and that's when he proved that the best economists might just be soldiers with dirty hands. Vespasian started with the obvious, new taxes. He reinstated old ones, cut unnecessary spending, and even sold off imperial furniture. But he also introduced something totally new, a tax on urine. Officially called the vectigal urinae, it charged collectors who gathered urine from public toilets for use in industries. It was, in every sense, a pee-for-profit model. The emperor had monetized what no one else dared to touch. Naturally, the people of Rome found this hilarious and disgusting. Even Vespasian's son Titus thought his father had gone too far. Legend says Titus confronted him, saying, "Father, this tax is revolting." In response, Vespasian held up a coin and asked, "Does it smell bad to you?" When Titus said no, Vespasian replied with a smirk, "Yet it comes from urine." The phrase Pecunia non olet, money does not stink, was born. That one sentence captured the cynical genius of Roman finance. It wasn't about morality, it was about results. As long as money flowed into the empire's coffers, its origin didn't matter. The pee tax worked. The treasury filled up, public projects restarted, and Rome stabilized. In a city that once smelled like decay, even the sewers became a source of wealth. Vespasian had literally taxed the unthinkable, and won. But this wasn't just a quirky historical footnote. It was an early lesson in behavioral economics, the study of how humans value things irrationally. People hated the idea of the tax but still paid it because it didn't affect their daily pride. They could laugh at it while contributing to the empire's budget. Vespasian understood something about psychology. People resist taxes that feel visible, but tolerate the ones hidden in plain sight. Think about it. Today, governments do the same thing. They tax things we can't easily avoid. Gas, alcohol, cigarettes, even carbon emissions. It's less about punishment and more about inevitability. You can't live without flushing, just like you can't drive without gas. Vespasian's pee tax wasn't just funny, it was brilliant economic design. It turned necessity into revenue. Still, not everyone admired the emperor's creativity. Some elites mocked him as vulgar, a ruler obsessed with money rather than glory. But Vespasian didn't care. He used the funds to rebuild the Colosseum, stabilize the army, and create financial discipline after years of corruption. The empire thrived under his pragmatic rule. He proved that financial recovery wasn't about grandeur. It was about doing the unglamorous things no one else would. Ironically, his son Titus, the same one who mocked the P-tax, inherited a financially strong empire, and the phrase, "money does not stink," became a Roman proverb for centuries. It survived longer than the empire itself. Even today, economists use it to describe profits gained from morally grey industries, from tobacco and gambling to modern tech surveillance and data mining. But every good story has a twist. The same principle that saved Rome also revealed its moral blind spots. Vespasian's genius lay in his realism, yet it opened the door to the idea that any source of money could be justified if it kept the economy running. It's the same logic behind many of today's ethical debates. Should profits from pollution, surveillance, or speculation be considered clean? Or does money sometimes stink after all? The irony deepens when you look at our modern world. We may not tax urine, but we've found digital versions of it. Every click, every piece of data, every microtransaction, it's all monetized. Big tech has turned personal information into the new ammonia of the 21st century, invisible, valuable, and endlessly reusable. Like Rome's laundries, the system profits from our waste, only now it's digital waste instead of physical. If Vespasian lived today, he might smile at how little human nature has changed. He'd probably invest in data brokers or social media ads and say, "Does your privacy smell bad to you?" And we'd probably shrug because as long as the money's flowing, Pecunia non olet. The empire's tools have evolved, but the psychology remains the same. So, what can we take from the emperor who taxed P and got away with it? First, necessity breeds innovation. Even the strangest ideas can solve real financial crises. Second, economics is as much about psychology as numbers. People will accept almost anything if it's out of sight. And third, money's morality depends on the stories we tell ourselves about where it comes from. The next time you hear about a strange tax, a controversial business model, or a hidden fee in your bill, remember Emperor Vespasian, the man who turned the dirtiest corner of Roman life into one of history's cleanest profits. It's a reminder that wealth often flows from the places we least expect. If you enjoyed this story of strange money, power, and human behavior, hit that like button, share it with someone who loves history, and subscribe for more financial stories that prove truth is stranger than fiction. After all, as Vespasian taught us, value doesn't always come from what shines. Sometimes it comes from what stinks.